Tony Jones joins us now. We'll ask you this question. Associate head basketball coach at the University of Tennessee, associate head basketball coach at Auburn. He knows more basketball. He's forgotten more basketball than I've ever known. Tony, who goes deeper in the NCAA tournament? Is it Kim Caldwell and the Lady Vols, or is it Rick Barnes and the men?
I think it's Rick Barnes and the men. They play defense. They do some things well on the offensive end when they're in transition, and if they're making threes. Kim Caldwell's team, they shoot a lot of questionable threes, and even though I was a part of our organized chaos at Tennessee, with the pressure defense and things of that nature. And we had depth and we was committed to the depth, but we wouldn't substitute 5 people at a time. I just don't think that creates continuity.
What player, and I don't want to say disappointed because the guys are rolling in here and I know they're doing their best, but let's replace it with this. What player has played at a surprisingly low level compared to what you thought at the beginning of the season? And I'm talking I'm not talking about the JP Estrellas of the world or the Cars that are not a part of the team. We thought they would be key factors, but I'm talking about the guys that are actually on the team.
Well, it's just been a level of inconsistency. I'm not going to say I've been overly disappointed in any individual. I mean, some nights it's one individual's night and the other individuals are not being as productive. Last night, obviously, I was right there, courtside, and I saw a Kentucky team that baited Tennessee in the shooting threes. Obviously, in my estimation, going into the game, doing some research, Kentucky was not a good defensive team. Not a good defensive team, and they held Tennessee to 34% from the field and 24% from three. 11 of 45 at home from 3-point land is not going to get it done. I don't care if you're playing Jerry's kids.
Or wait, are we talking about Jerry Green's kids? No, I'm
I'm talking about Jerry Lewis.
I know. So Tony, you say that. And I'm with you. I know a lot of people felt like they jacked up a lot of threes, but they had a lot of open looks yesterday. So is it more concerning that they took so many threes, or is it more concerning that they didn't hit more of those threes given how many open looks they had?
Well, it just seemed like they were focusing on shooting the three. And no matter what we say, as a basketball coach, we know a 3-point shot is not as high a percentage shot as a 2-point shot. That's just the way it is. And they did a good job of getting second opportunities. And then they were scurrying out to the 3-point line and still shooting them. And the game didn't necessitate them shooting threes. It necessitated them to get to the basket and getting fouled and stopping the clock and cutting into that deficit. Kentucky controlled the game. They controlled that basketball game. And for you to get back in the basketball games, obviously, Caleb, you got to make an open three, but you got to get to the basket, put the onus on the officials. You're at home. It's an unbelievable crowd there, and get that clock stopped and try and get back in the game. I mean, once Milicic hits that shot off the glass to cut it to 1, everybody in the arena thought, hey, it was going to happen. But at the end of the day, Sonny Hill, longtime NBA guy, used to say this: when you get down so much, trying to get back into the game takes a lot of energy. And I think that's what ended up happening last night.
Tony, remind everybody before Caleb, I know you want to jump in here, of your Twitter handle so people can follow you.
Yeah, follow me on T Jones Live. And then you can also follow me on Facebook at T Jones Live also. And Instagram, T Jones live.
Beautiful. All right, Caleb.
So Tony, thinking about this, just from Kentucky's perspective for a minute, I'll be honest, I laughed about the Mark Pope hire when they made the move. I thought they shot really low. Was I wrong? I know Kentucky's got some talent issues, but they looked very well coached yesterday in that game.
Mark Pope's a good coach. I know him. I know him personally. He did an outstanding job at BYU. He's a Kentucky guy. I mean, he won a national championship there. So I think Kentucky made the right hire. I think Kentucky, they wanted to get away from that one and done mechanism of John Calipari and bring in some guys that's going to be there for a while. Get some portal guys that's experienced. I mean, Berea, the kid from Dayton, he was unbelievable. I mean, 18 points, 5 of 5 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3. We played well. Robinson was stellar. And then the guy was Williams. Williams with 10 points, but 15 big rebounds. Every rebound, defensive rebound, it seemed that came off that rim, he was there. And then he handled the ball a lot. He broke the pressure because obviously, as you well know, Kentucky came into the game shorthanded.
They did, and I thought they were simplistic on defense. And Tennessee, they lagged back. Tennessee got a lot of open three-point looks. So how do you handle that as a coach, Tony? Because you're getting the open three-point looks, and your nature as a shooter says, I got to stroke it right here. I got to shoot it right here. But Rick Barnes is telling you, according to his post-game comments, that you have to at least dump it down low, even if they kick it back out, because you got to keep people honest. As a coach, man, how do you handle that? Because you're a guy who coaches on flow and X's and O's, which I always like talking to you.
I agree with Rick. I mean, they have to establish some type of low post presence. And then you got to understand that sometimes you're open for a reason. Sometimes I want you to shoot the shot. And if you're baited into doing it and you shooting it at a low percentage, then, hey, I've won half the battle. I mean, in my estimation, I love ZZ, but he shouldn't be shooting 18 field goals. He shouldn't be shooting the ball more than anybody else on the team. He's a distributor. I've had conversations with him about it, and he's always said, I need to get my teammates involved before I look at my offense. But 18 field goals, 1-11 from 3, that's not a recipe to win.
Tony, on that note, is this on Ziegler, or is there an issue of, I'm calling it a couple of major scorers not willing to meet the moment? Because to me, it was a red flag that Rick Barnes called the game-winning 3 for Ziegler on Saturday and not Chazanier and Milicic. And I don't blame Barnes, but doesn't that suggest that Rick Barnes doesn't think Milicic and Lanier are mentally cut out for crunch time?
Hey, you know what? Rick Barnes is a very accomplished coach. I mean, his record speaks for itself. He's there each and every day at those practices. He's been obviously seeing these guys, especially Ziegler, play for 4 years, and Milicic and Lanier only 1 year. It was quite startling to me. A couple of important possessions where Lanier was just in the corner, just standing there, stagnant, no movement at all. And I don't know if that was by design or he didn't want to meet the moment, and he didn't want to challenge himself. We used to always say, great players either want to be the hero or the GOAT. I mean, you want to take that shot. Maybe Rick may have a mindset that Lanier and Milicic, they don't want to be the GOAT.
Tony's appearance brought to you in part by our friends at Work Trucks. I'll tell you more about that here in just a moment. But Tony, let me ask you this. How confident are you that Tennessee bounces back against a good Florida team? Because I was super confident they'd bounce back against Kentucky, and I was dead wrong.
It's gonna be a tough matchup on Saturday at noon. You know, when a team Hook beats you really bad, you know that stays in your consciousness as a player, thinking that this team may be better than me. It may be better than us. So if Florida gets off to a good start, I like to see Tennessee. I like to see what Tennessee's mindset or resolve is, as far as trying to get back in the game. If they let Florida control the game like Kentucky controlled the game, it's going to be very challenging to win that game. Obviously, we playing at home. We know it's a must game. We've got to win this game. We've lost 2 in a row. So I think the coaching staff is going to get their players prepared. I think they're going to come out with a sense of urgency. And I like Tennessee's chances. But if they don't come out starting out of the gate well, then it could be challenging.
Great stuff as always, Tony. We'll talk to you soon, and I'll be in touch. Do you have something else, Caleb? Go ahead.
Tony, can you correct Dave for a minute real quick? Because I am at my in-law. I'm a hardcore Grizzly fan. I'm at my in-laws' house. They were Grizzly fans. They have a signed Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol jersey behind me. Dave questioned the value of Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol signed jerseys and how good they were.
All right. Great stuff, Tony. We greatly appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon. Have a blessed day. Tony's appearance brought to you in part by Work Trucks. Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, guys.